Hi, welcome to my podcast, Becoming a Cut Flower Grower. I'm your host, Lydia, and I'm here to share my year of growing and selling cut flowers. I'll be giving you the lowdown on everything I'm doing and sharing all the highs and lows, the good times and the inevitable disasters, all in real time. Join me on my cut flower journey, starting right now. Hello, and a very warm welcome to the latest episode. It is Wednesday, the 18th of February, 2026. And happy Shrove Tuesday for yesterday. Now, if you are a regular listener, you will know that this episode is a day late, and that is because I was flying back from a trip to Spain yesterday. So my other half and I finally got round to taking our 2025 summer holiday, and it's actually the first time I've been overseas since 2024, and quite a lot has changed. Now, I was hoping to record the episode yesterday, actually from Malaga, but actually didn't find the space. I had the time, but not the space to actually do it. And when I found the space and the time, I realised that I'd actually checked in my equipment and I couldn't even do it. So I deliberately booked a late flight so that we had the whole day to enjoy ourselves. But due to a slight communication mishap, my other half checked the car in at lunchtime. So we had to drop the car off at 2, and then the flight wasn't till 9. So we actually had half a day in Malaga Airport, which was quite an experience. But I can recommend Malaga to you, and the airport is also lovely. We were there when the February Carnival is on, and they were doing something called the burning of the anchovy, which I'm not going to be able to describe properly, but there was a giant blue anchovy, and then there was a bonfire, and there were lots and lots of different events going on, and it was really crazy. And I love celebrations like that, and I've never done anything in Europe like that before, so it was quite an eye-opener. Thank you very much for your nice messages about the pricing episodes which I put up last week. I did actually have to record them in advance, full disclosure, because I wasn't in the country, but I hope you enjoyed them and that they were interesting. Now, it was nice to be away for Valentine's Day for a change. Over in Spain, they don't do any silly, overpriced, expensive dinners, and it wasn't all over the top. In fact, the only thing I saw that was relating to Valentine's Day was a gentleman going around selling individual stems of red roses to people in restaurants, €4 each. We didn't buy one. I think I would say is if you haven't visited Malaga before, I can highly recommend it. So we had a few days in Estepona, we went to Marbella for the day, and then we had a few days in Malaga, and it's got a really, really beautiful old town, and there's absolutely masses to do, like theatres, art galleries, museums, a little castle that you can climb up to, a cathedral, and the beach, obviously, and just masses of places to eat and drink. I have put on about a stone in a week. It's absolutely shocking, and it was so cold today. We got home about 1:30 this morning, and the warmest place I've been is in my car, where I've got the fan heater on full blast. But I think it would be a great place to go just for a weekend. Super easy to get there. And one of the interesting things about it was that they have got their summer bedding out absolutely everywhere. So they've got it all up the sides of the roads, in the middle of like all their dual carriageways, their roads. They've got them on lamp posts, and just literally everywhere you go there is summer bedding. And for me, it was absolutely wild to see petunias, calais, geraniums, all flowering their socks off in February. It was quite mind-blowing. And also lots and lots of really big cyclamens, and not mouldy cyclamens like we get over here. Everything was absolutely stunning, and bougainvillea everywhere as well. So really, really very nice. But when I got back, got up to the plot this morning, I had somebody babysitting for me, all the chickens, and somebody's eaten another tranche of my tulips, the ones that were in my massive allium tub. And I still don't know how they managed to get in either, because there was no evidence of that whatsoever. And the chickens have had a bit of a mixed week, really, because the guy that looks after my chickens and the plot for me, there was a little miscommunication there about the feeding regime. So some birds got far too much and some birds didn't quite get enough. So it has kind of all balanced out over the week, but they were extremely pleased to see me this morning. So normal service has been resumed. Now, I think it was my last episode, I talked about, or rather I made reference to a floret video that I had seen on Instagram. And I talked about it in the episode as if I had already talked about it to you. And then I realised that in my head I had, but in reality I hadn't. So it was a video that Floret put up on the 3rd of February. And it was about how they do their potting or their seed compost. And it's a really interesting reel. And Erin was giving away the recipe for it, which I have downloaded and I've got it. Really, really interesting. Definitely have a look. So she gives a recipe out, and I don't think I'm going to be doing any plot spoilers here because you can just go and get it. But basically it has bone meal, kelp meal and blood meal inside her seed mix, which is kind of wild because, as you know, I use a one that just comes out of a massive tub that I have in my garden, and it's all old compost that I recycle. And essentially she's just adding fish, blood and bone, because that is like the one-stop shop product that you get in the UK, to the potting soil. And interestingly, the soil that she uses, the base soil, is a mixture of peat moss, coir, perlite and vermiculite, which wouldn't have any nutrition in it whatsoever. And in fact, peat moss would be out of the question for most of us. I think professional growers can still get hold of it, but then there's all these ethical questions about whether one should be using peat moss in the first place. Now, what I believe, what I've always known, is that seeds don't actually need nutrients in order to germinate. They have everything in the embryo already. But Floret's recipe is going to work if you don't prick out your seeds or you transplant late, and obviously if they're very fast growers. But the caveat that I kind of think is going to happen with it is that if you have lots and lots of lush growth, and it looks like from her reel and the email that she sends out, she's holding trays up next to each other, one tray with this special seed mix that she uses, and then one with just a really plain seed compost, and there's like a huge difference in the growth. The roots look kind of similar, but on the ones with the amended soil, she's got masses and masses of really lush growth on the top. Now, I think with that, you would need to manage your air and water spectacularly well with that, or I can foresee fungal problems and potentially weak top growth unless you've got your light levels sorted as well. So what I thought I would do as an experiment is to try both and see what happens, and I will let you know. Now, Valentine's Day reflections. I have seen a right old ding-dong going on the Instagram about this, between rose lovers and those who think it's not appropriate to have roses in the UK for Valentine's Day. And it can get pretty vicious at times. There's like this huge conflict, I guess, between the florists who want to offer all of these options to customers, and of course the rose is the traditional Valentine's Day flower, and then the growers who may not even have, well, we wouldn't, it's impossible, like you just wouldn't have any roses available for sale in the UK in February. Is out of the question. So there are alternatives, and I've seen lots of fantastic alternatives, the main one being red tulips. Now, my friend Carolyn, who grows down the road from me, she's done some absolutely drop-dead gorgeous bouquets this year. Her Instagram is Home Close Flowers, and I think her bouquets are so much better than the red roses ones, and they're really, really inspiring for what you could actually do if you can get your tulips ready enough. Now, not everybody can do this, and it's okay. Like, lots of people start their season in, I don't know, late April or May, And that is perfectly okay if you're not ready for Valentine's Day. And I am certainly not ready for Valentine's Day. The rats are the only ones who have been enjoying my tulips recently. Now, on the same topic as this, but slightly different, there's also been a very interesting article published in the Guardian newspaper called "Nothing Says Love Like Chemicals," with quotes from a grower called Roisin Taylor, who's from Verde Flower Co in Northumberland. I'll put the link in the show notes to the article. You might like to read it. It covers a lot of the things that I've talked to you about all of the chemicals coming in on these imports. But it obviously goes into a lot more detail because Roisin knows what she's talking about. But very, very interesting and pretty terrifying, really, to actually look at the numbers and look at the types of chemicals that are being used, the problems that they cause and all the rest of it. So I feel, on balance, that there is a very, very good case for trying to move away from red roses on Valentine's Day. It would be amazing if, as a country, we could do that and use tulips that have been grown in this country and really have a celebration that's not tainted with these awful chemicals, because I'm not thinking so much about the end user. I'm thinking about all the florists that have had to process all of those roses, and then all of the growers that have produced them, and just all the travel miles and the packaging and the just incredible hoo-ha that there is to get these roses here when we have red tulips that are absolutely stunning and chemical free and grown in this country and so beautiful. So maybe if you have time, have a read of the article and let me know what you think. And one final thing, I saw a comment from a florist on Instagram about there not being enough British stems available to florists because growers are selling direct. And this was really quite an interesting moment for me, because I hadn't really thought that there might be a situation where, despite everything that we're growing, we're just not putting enough out into the market. And it's quite interesting because, you know, in the UK we import 80 to 90% of our cut flowers from overseas, and that's quite a big market for British growers to move into. Like, we're never going to be able to supply all year round, but, you know, for a good 6, 7 months, 8 months maybe of the year, we could certainly reduce that percentage right down. But the more growers that sell directly to members of the public, the less stems therefore are going to be available to florists, which means that they are going to fall back on the imports. There's no other way around it. I just thought that was really, really interesting. It just made me think about how we get a balance between selling wholesale so that we can reduce the volume of imports, so there's more business for all of us, more money going around for British growers, but how we balance that with the number of growers that actually just bypass florists completely and sell direct. And it made me wonder if the growers that do that if they're disrupting the system, if this is like the start of a sea change in the industry, because so many industries now are just being completely disrupted by new companies that just come in and do something totally different, and it kind of changes everything. It's never quite the same again, and I wonder if the same is happening in this industry. Anyway, food for thought. Now listen, that is going to be it for today. A little bit of a shorter episode. I'm a little bit brain fried after flying in early this morning and going to work and unpacking and just getting settled back into the routine. So a little bit of a short one today, but I will be back on Friday with the next episode, and also I'll be carrying on with the plant profile series. So I very much hope that you will come back and join me. Have a great week. All the best.